Personally, I really love fairy tales. Not for children, but adults. You know, these are very important ways that cultures were trying to preserve wisdom and to give teachings through fairy tales. So what time are we starting, or have we started, or we're waiting on a few more people? Or?
Yes.
We're waiting on a few people.
Supposed to start 3:30, I think.
Okay. What's the time now?
It's going to be 3:10.
Maybe we can do the Queen Bee. It's useful, maybe useful for you to relate to the younger children. But in fact, all of these fairy tales are really for adults, not for children. And they can be very deep and very sharp. And who's doing all the cartoons?
Yes, these are the very famous cartoons. They are all listed items, and they all charge people.
Okay, they're not people from the school.
No. You also have a prime minister,
Okay.
very famous cartoonist called Charlie.
Charlie.
He's the
Okay.
Charlie.
A sharp commentary on the path to adulthood. So for children, they interpret it as becoming an adult. But for adults, we interpret it as becoming to enlightenment. And so when I do this play with people, I mean just speaking, not acting, usually I do with adults. It's not for children. It's very, very deep and very sharp story. Each element in the story has a particular meaning almost on a subconscious level. But these days it helps if you have, with adults, it helps if you have an explanation as well.
Can we do it with the teachers?
Can we what?
The teachers. We meet to the play.
Yes.
And the children see us.
Sure, why not? But it's good to have, Jack needs to be one of the children.
Okay.
Because part of the tale, and as with many fairy tales, is when you're young, you feel like this big, scary adult world. And it can seem so confusing, and you don't know how ever you're going to be able to be an adult, be a person. So in the fairy tales, you always have somebody who's very small, and usually a bit sneaky. And so this is to give them confidence that they too can progress. Now on an adult level, this is the same with spirituality. Normally you get caught up in just worldly things and looking after your husband or your wife and your work. And the idea of enlightenment just seems like much too far away and impossible. So again, the tale is to, on the adult level, is to encourage a person that it isn't that far away, that you have the power, you have the resources if you want to develop the spiritual path. So it can be done on all of these levels. And with the children, if the adults know the explanation, it's easier then for the adults to talk with the children about it. Usually the adults don't fully understand what each of the elements means. So then the adults don't know what to ask the children, or how to relate the story to the children. So it'll be really quite a fun topic.
Yeah, we must think about it.
It's certainly not just a silly fairy tale, the way that it is often described or the way that it appears. It's actually very deep and very symbolic. Very Freudian, actually. It's similar to dream analysis. So we can get the psychology department involved in this also. Yes, I'm not the behind them or run through the gate. And yesterday we went to the Muslim temple.
You were able to do that? It was not too crowded?
Not too crowded, but I like the crowds. I like to see the feel of the city, the people, and it's good.
Respected Pandit, on behalf of IILM, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you, and we are all really grateful that you took time and traveled here to spend time and share your thoughts and feelings with us. Very brief note about him. He has been living in Thailand since 1996. He has practiced in several insight meditation lineages. He has finished a degree in psychology from Thailand and is known for comparisons and the using of tools from both the psychological and meditation sides of the practice. Currently, he is finishing a further degree in Buddhist studies and teaches meditation and psychology in the same university. In today's session, he will talk to us about the qualities which we should possess and expand, and also take us through some meditation session. So again, once a very warm welcome to you, and we look forward to hearing from you.
And we're going through till 5:30. 5 o'clock? 5:30? 5-ish.
5-ish.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you for inviting me, having me here. Can everybody hear okay? You can hear?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So, I am a Buddhist monk by trade, if you can put it that way. And I've been ordained for 15 years and spent nearly all of that time in Thailand. Usually I think that's obvious, but some people, they don't quite know what I am. And even in Thailand, sometimes they ask me, because they see my white face and my big nose, and then they ask me, "Are you a Christian?" And I'm like, "No." And the word in Thai for Christian is the same word as to think. So for years they were always asking me, I thought they were asking me, "Are you a thinker?" I'm like, "Of course I'm a thinker." But thinker is the same word for Christian. What they're actually asking me is, "Are you a Christian?" So for years I was telling everybody, yes, I'm a Christian. Aside from Buddhism, as was just mentioned, I also have a love of psychology, and I often bring in a lot of tools and tips from psychology. Psychology isn't quite the same as Buddhism and vice versa, but there are many things that we can use in Buddhism that Buddhists or Buddhism can take from psychology, and there are some things in psychology that they can take from Buddhism. For example, something that our Buddhist monasticism that I've been pushing to take from psychology in recent times is training in counselling. Because as monks and nuns, often we're in a position where we have to give counselling, or people come to us with problems, and usually they come with problems. People don't usually come when they're happy. And nobody comes to the temple and says, "Oh, incredible, I'm just so madly in love at the moment, teach me to meditate." Usually they come and like, "Oh, I'm split up," or "I've fallen out of love," or "I'm lonely." Then they want to come and meditate. Nobody comes and says, "I'm so healthy, I want to stay in the temple," but when they get sick, then they come to the temple. So one thing that I think our monastic circles could do with learning is basic counselling, counselling techniques, because this is something that psychology has researched and that monks and nuns should be able to use. More interestingly for us is the opposite way around, things that psychology is taking from Buddhism. And at the moment the big area of research or excitement in psychology is mindfulness this word mindfulness meditation. And this is something that, of course, in Buddhism has been going for 2,500 years, but just recently that psychologists have started to understand that this method of mindfulness is something that has wider use than just for monks and nuns. So they're taking mindfulness out of the Buddhist context and they've been using it in a secular context. Now, some of you may have heard of a program called MBSR. It's the most famous of the testing that's being done on mindfulness. And the MBSR program has been running for about 30 years. And they take people in various conditions and take them through an 8-week training course in mindfulness meditation. Before, during and after the training course, then they monitor for certain changes. So the program has been shown to have a big effect on things like blood pressure, cortisone, hormone levels, gene expression, all kinds of different monitors that they've been using. And in general, it shows that the mindfulness is extremely effective, especially when used in tandem with conventional medicine. Used alone, it will have a measurable effect, usually beneficial measurable effect. But when used in tandem with conventional medicine, it seems to have a much bigger effect. One example of this, and there are many, many examples, this program has been running for 30 years. So if you Google MBSR, which means mindfulness-based stress reduction,